So a prenuptial agreement is a complicated document that speaks to how the property of the parties will be distributed once there is a divorce. Now, it's often confused with determining the property rights of the parties, but really a premarital agreement only comes into play once there is a dissolution of marriage, once there is a divorce action pending before the court. So the premarital agreement follows a very specific set of rules and jargon that's specific to the Illinois Marriage and Dissolution of Marriage Act. It seems counterintuitive because we're talking about property, we're talking about bank accounts, we're talking about partnerships, we're talking about corporations sometimes, we're talking about real estate. But the terms that we're using in the premarital agreement are all divorce terms. And again, this is because the document is only exercised legally. It only has legal validity once the divorce is actually invoked. So it's a weird sort of a document. It's a weird legal creature in which it's written to anticipate a divorce, which is an uncomfortable thing, particularly when you're about to get married. Nevertheless, it's often something very valuable because it will guarantee as best as possible. Remember, a judge can always do whatever a judge wants to do within certain bounds in the divorce court, which is why it's important that the agreement is carefully drafted with a consideration to what is the law to ensure that there is the greatest possible predictability with regard to how the marital assets and the non-marital assets will be treated if/when the case goes to divorce court. So there is a provision regularly in our standard premarital agreement that speaks to how the parties will inherit after the divorce process begins, or rather, when the case goes through the divorce court. So we can ensure that there is a degree of predictability that one party will inherit, half of XYZ assets of the other spouse if one party predeceases the other. It's a powerful way to ensure that there is a great degree of predictability with regard to inheritance in the divorce process. So the first thing that we do whenever we're dealing with a prenuptial agreement client is we have a comprehensive interview form that asks the client to identify all of their assets, all of their debts, so that we can first get a clear snapshot and understanding of exactly what the financial wherewithal is of the individual who we're meeting with. What are we trying to protect? What are particular concerns? And then we want to meet very intimately with the clients to understand their main goals. What is it that they hope to achieve? Are they hoping to achieve a solidity of the relationship, that everything's clear before they go into the marriage so that there's no dispute in the marriage itself? Or are they looking to protect a particular asset, potential inheritance? What is it that is their main concern? Because in that case, we can ensure that we craft documents that's specific to the precise needs of the individual client. So it's very tricky when we're trying to balance the loving, caring, happy excitement of an upcoming marriage with this more kind of judgmental aspect of protecting one's assets, right? We don't want to offend. We don't want to kind of put a dent in the emotional connection, the loving connection that we have with our spouse. We don't want them to feel, or our future spouse, we don't want them to feel that we don't love them, that we don't care. So it's delicate, right? And I think this is a place where, as also a mental health professional, I have a particular benefit of counseling clients with regard to how to approach these things. But it's really important to tread lightly, to be delicate, and to have a conversation with your spouse that presents the possibility of entering into a premarital agreement that is beneficial to both parties, that it's not just a selfish thing, but it's something that's going to create clarity. And as a friend of mine once said, that where you have clarity in material things, you often have clarity in your emotional relationships. So premarital agreements can go either way, right? They can cause a tremendous amount of harm and emotional pain if they're dealt with improperly. And they also can create more stability because they can provide a lot of clarity in the relationship, right? There are sometimes relationships where you have somebody who has much more wealth than the other party, and they want to make sure that, their fiance is not entering into this relationship merely for the money, that there is, much more that's there. And this is a guarantee. It's as best as possible, a guarantee that one can do to make sure that that the financial motivation is not the primary or exclusive, heaven forbid, motivation for the marriage. So this has been a discussion, friends, of prenuptial agreements. Hear from your attorneys at khk Family Law. Don't hesitate to reach out whatsoever for your free consultation whenever that's convenient for you.